Welcome everybody, past leadership graduates, past Kent Schulz winners, Kent's families over here, and especially Will Robinson. Welcome to our 23rd annual Kent C. Schulz Distinguished Leadership Award winner. We're glad to have you guys here today, and the mantra of the day is going to be, keep calm and marathon on. That's in honor of Will at the table. My name's Lindsay Leach, and I've had the privilege of being the president of the board for the Leadership Manatee Association. We're delighted to have you guys here today. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our past 22 winners. We're in a room full of great folks here. So when I call your name, if you don't mind to stand up so we can recognize you, that'd be great. Bob Sweat, Brenda Rogers, yay, Jerry Russell, Robert King, Cliff Walters, Ruth Lawler, Linda Agresta, Diana Davis, Connie Shingledecker, Edie Bussell, John Vita, Daryl Turner, Betsy Benak, in honor of Bob Bartz, Tom Seguin, Amanda Horn, Rose Carlson, Jamie Carter, also in memory of Rick Foley, Sandy Kirkpatrick, Ray Dowling, and our newest winner was John Horn. Yay! Thank you to all of you for your leadership and involvement in Manatee County and your continued support of the association. If I could ask everybody to stand with me and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Oh, ha! I was like, where's the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody. At this time, I'd like to have Mike Ludwig, he's a member of our Board of Leadership Manatee Association, give the invocation.
Good morning. Will you bow your heads and join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, I want to say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibility. As we recognize one of our community's leaders today, we pray for your guiding hand to inspire and activate others to serve. We ask for your continued blessings upon those in attendance today and for our community as a whole. In your holy name, amen.
Good afternoon. Please continue to enjoy your lunch. I know the great staff here at Pier 22 is still getting the last plates out to you, but in being mindful of your time, we wanted to continue with the program. Good afternoon. My name is Jackie Dazowski, President and CEO of the Manatee Chamber and class of 1997. Go Yellow, so, of Leadership Manatee. But I was asked to give you all just a quick update about Leadership Manatee, the program that I know the majority of you are very intimately familiar with as past graduates, alumni of the program. And for those of you that are not yet intimately familiar with the program, know that the applications will go live tomorrow on the Chamber's website for the class of 2018-2019. Next week, we will graduate the 35th class of the Leadership Manatee program. That milestone means that we have reached more than 1,500 graduates of the program that the Manatee Chamber of Commerce and the Kiwanis Club of Bradenton launched in 1982 as a way to ensure that our community never lacked for leadership. As you that have gone through the program know, it's an intensive 13-session program that's designed to ensure that we have business and community leaders who are familiar with a very broad and yet in-depth perspective of Manatee County and our challenges and the opportunities. You all are experts within your own industries, but you know that Leadership Manatee affords you the opportunity to become much more familiar with industries that you are not an expert in, and lets you give you a better understanding to the framework of how our community works, how decisions are made, and how each of us can be advocates on the issues that are most important to us. I know all of you found new ways through your Leadership Manatee experience to get engaged in nonprofits and community service. We have candidates for office, we have elected officials, and I know that your Leadership Manatee experience helped you chart that course and make those decisions. I also wanted to introduce to you Terry Bailing. For those of you that don't know Terry from her distinguished career with the Southwest Florida Water Management District, Terry is the new VP of Workforce and Community Development at the Chamber, also oversees our Chamber Foundation under which Leadership Manatee is housed. So Terry will now be your go-to person for all things Leadership Manatee. So please give her a warm round of welcome to the Leadership Manatee family. I also wanted to thank once again the Alumni Association. We take this opportunity every year at this luncheon to say thank you to all of you who are dues-paying members of the Leadership Manatee Alumni Association, because your dues in part help fund scholarships for those, particularly in the nonprofit and governmental industries, to participate in Leadership Manatee, who otherwise may not be able to find it within their nonprofit or government budget to participate in Leadership Manatee. So know that your dues in LMAA support scholarships for Leadership Manatee. And finally, again, I announced that tomorrow the applications for the next class will go live. You all are the very best advocates and recruiters for candidates for the Leadership Manatee program. So please make a note that starting tomorrow, start hitting up your entire contact list and encourage those that you know that have not yet gone through the program to apply for this next year's Leadership Manatee class. Next, we're going to hear from Troy Newport, who will give you an update on the Junior Leadership Manatee program and all of the ways that your involvement in LMAA supports a program very similar to Leadership Manatee that is geared towards high school juniors in Manatee County. Troy?
Thank you, Jackie. $150. What can you get for $150 these days? Well, most of us spend more than that on our cable bill every month. Our cell phone bill. I mean, imagine how happy you'd be if you got your July electric bill and it was only $150, right? Well, for $150, Manatee County high school juniors are given the opportunity to tour through back hallways and service corridors to experience local business and industry in a way that most of Manatee County residents never see. Students learn about manufacturing, agriculture, healthcare, tourism, the environment, local government, and law enforcement, and how all of these pieces of our community work together to form the place where we live, work, and play. Junior Leadership's goal is to help students recognize all the potential career opportunities they have right here in Manatee County. Some high school graduates will choose to go to college outside of this area. We want those students to bring their talents back to the area and help build an even better community and a more sustainable economy. That $150 tuition rate hasn't changed since the inception of Junior Leadership in 2008. In the meantime, costs have risen substantially. Luckily, we found corporate sponsors like the Early Learning Coalition of Manatee County and Core Construction to help us maintain that low tuition rate. Florida Blue has donated the polos students wear on their program days over the past several years. And of course, the Leadership Manatee Alumni Association allocates funds to help us fulfill our mission. Although that $150 may not seem like a lot to many of us in this room, it may not be manageable for some families. For years, Tropicana has continued to help with scholarships for those families, and this year the American Legion Kirby Stewart Post 24 also scholarships several students. With the grace and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we will graduate another class tomorrow evening right here at Pier 22 in this very room. Local leadership and team building consultant Game On Nation will keynote the event, where we will graduate 31 students and host almost 100 guests. Because of something called Irma, this year started off with a delay in our orientation day at Dayspring. But even though the year started off with an unexpected twist, our parents and students remained flexible throughout the year. This year I received the same feedback that I've heard in the past. My son or daughter comes home excited about what he or she has learned. My son or daughter has told us things about Manatee County that we never knew. My son or daughter never realized all of the career opportunities that they had in Manatee County. Hearing feedback like this year after year makes me proud to be involved with JLM and reinforces that we are achieving our mission. This is my second year as president and my last year on the board. I'll miss being a part of it tremendously. But with your help, JLM will continue to thrive. If your company would like to get involved with a sponsorship, please let us know. We have opportunities for general scholarships, which helps to pay for the charter bus and the graduation costs, and scholarship opportunities to help pay tuition or college scholarships for graduates. And even sponsoring meals on program days can help. We're in the process of releasing applications for next year's class, and we'd love to have you be a part of our success. Thank you for giving me the honor to speak here today, and thank you for your continued support of our amazing program.
This time I'd like to ask you to please join me in recognizing the Leadership Manatee Alumni Association board members whose terms are expiring. We're going to miss them on the board. We'll get started with Jody Allen. Where's Jody? There she is. Chris Sherrick. Bethany Willits. Ashley Masuga. She wasn't able to join us here today, but Hulda Mathis, also outgoing board member. And of course, I want to take this opportunity to recognize and acknowledge our outgoing president, Ms. Lindsay Leach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Do we have any of our current Leadership Manatee soon-to-be graduates in the house? Will you please stand if you're in the 2017 class? Yay, there we go. Now, this year's Leadership Manatee class has not graduated yet. I believe they graduate next week. So we'll have 5 or 6 of this year's graduates joining our board, so we don't know who those folks are yet, but we will look forward to welcoming them to the LMAA board. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Sherrick, class of 2013, I think it was, right? 13. I'm going to read the bio for Kent Schulz and why we're here today and gathered in this honor. It's really good to see a lot of faces and friends from Manatee and Sarasota. It's really great to be here. Kent Schulz was born December 31st, 1961, St. Louis, Missouri, to Elmer J. and Sherry Schulz. After spending his early years in St. Louis, Kent attended Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas, where he met his future wife, Kimberly Kennard, on a blind date. In 1984, after graduating from college, they married and they settled in Bradenton, a place where Kimberly and her family called home. In 1991, Kimberly and Kent acquired 2 blockbuster franchises in Manatee and Sarasota and rapidly expanded their market and locations. At the time of Kent's death in 1996, his team was prepping for the opening of their 5th store. Kent was active in our community in so many ways, with a focus on helping children succeed. It was not only his service to these organizations that made Kent so special, but the way he interacted with everyone he came in touch with. Many who knew Kent have commented that he went out of his way to support and inspire others. Although a member of our great city for only 5 short years, Kent and his family have made a lasting impact on the community as a whole. As a member of the Leadership Manatee class of 1993, Kent exemplified the true meaning of a leader through his ability to inspire others. It is in honor of Kent's spirit of community involvement and his caring nature that we've created the Kent C. Schulz Distinguished Leadership Award. Today with us we have Dr. Richard Connard and Betty Connard, and also Eric Schulz is here as well, and he's going to say a few words about his dad. Thank you.
How you guys doing today? All right, I'm a strength and conditioning coach, so I always got to demand a little more. How you guys doing today? That's a little better. Thank you, Chris, for the intro. This is my 3rd year speaking here, so I appreciate you guys putting up with me and inviting me back each year. Every time I come to these things, it's nice because as a strength and conditioning coach, I'm usually not dressed up this nice. So I'm usually in gym clothes looking, just like a normal kind of kid. And every time I come to one of these things, I get home and I'm looking snazzy. And my friends are like, "Whoa, Eric, where you been?" I'm like, "Oh, I was at the Kent C. Schulz Award." They're like, "Oh, cool." And every time I hand them the little pamphlet handout. Has all the past winners and all that stuff. And my friends who have been a part of the community for a long time, a lot of them moved back. I live with them. They always kind of, point out 1 or 2 names. They kind of say, "Oh, I know him, I know him." And the thing that always sticks out to them, the thing they mention first and foremost, isn't, all the great things that you guys have done in terms of business and all the things you have done, financially and all that. They always say, "Oh, I had lunch with this person, or I met this person. They're the nicest people in the world." They always mention the qualities that you guys possess over everything. And so being at this award every year, it really makes me appreciate kind of, what goes on here and what it means for my family and my dad, because each of you makes an impact on the younger generation, the people around you, whether you know it or not just because of your business exploits, but because of the people that you guys are and what you guys kind of, put out into the community, always putting others first and trying to make Bradenton and Sarasota a better place. So in terms of my family, I want to thank you guys once again for letting me speak. Maybe one year you'll get the more well-spoken younger brother Logan up here, but he's up in New York right now in Columbia. So from everyone, from my grandpa, grandma, my mother who wishes she could be here, to my brother, we really appreciate you guys having this every year. And my grandpa and I were saying 23 years now. It's kind of crazy. It's almost as old as I am, but it's nice to see that it's continuing and that, it's going forward and you guys are making a truly positive impact. So thank you guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Veronica Brandon Miller, and I am the president of the Will Robinson Fan Club. So I get to talk about him, I'm so excited. Volunteering is the ultimate exercise in democracy. You vote in elections once a year, but when you volunteer, you vote every day about the kind of community you want to live in. For Will, he knows exactly what type of community he wants to live in. So it's no surprise he's running for House Rep because he does care about this community. As the 2007 graduate of Leadership Manatee, Will is the principal attorney at Blaylock Walters, focusing primarily in the area of real estate and land use, zoning, and development law. I hope I got that right, because I know you do so much, but I had to narrow it down. This marathon runner, I love the centerpieces, by the way. His community service has included more than a half a dozen nonprofits. I'm just going to mention some, including the Manatee Chamber of Commerce, the Lakewood Ranch Medical Center. He's also been the chair of the board for Meals on Wheels Plus, the City of Bradenton Downtown Development Authority, and the 12th Judicial Circuit Nominating Commission, nominated by Governor Scott. That's a long word. In his heavily active role, he also is a wonderful Goodwill ambassador and serves on the Goodwill Minnesota Veterans Task Force and the Manatee Food Bank. Will also was named 40 under 40 in 2014 by the Business Observer and People to Watch by Biz 941 in 2015. He's also a graduate from Leadership Florida, class 29. But there is so much more. Will cares about this community. So when nominations went out, I literally sat down and tried to figure out how many hours he puts in to this community. And when I got up to 10,000, I'm like, oh, please, let's nominate him, because he is a caring and wonderful asset in this community. And to give his award, it's my honor to introduce the incoming chair of the board for Leadership Manatee, Tim Bingham.
Hello, everyone. Veronica, very nice. Good job. It's hard to follow that up. My name is Tim Bingham. I'm the incoming president of Leadership Manatee Alumni. And Will, it's your award. Come on up and get it.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's truly an honor to be recognized by your peers as something that you can only dream of. But I do want to start off pretty quickly with a story. I was in Pensacola with my parents, and I opened up my bag. I like to run in the morning. And unfortunately, I had packed 2 left sneakers. So I looked down at the bag, and I said, you can make this work, Will. So I put them both on. I put the left on the left and the left on the right. And I went down to the first level, and I literally ran into someone because I had these 2 shoes on wrong. So I'm driving to Pensacola to meet with some business leaders of Pensacola, and I'm thinking how great this country is. They're going to be listening to someone that just tried to run with 2 left sneakers on. So you all have just paid for a lunch to listen to some person that just tried to run with 2 left sneakers on. But I'm incredibly honored. Eric, I didn't know your dad. I was talking to my mom briefly. We were Blockbuster fans, and we know Kimberly very well. And while I'm being honored up here, and there's some amazing people that are on this list, this is really a tribute to your dad and the legacy that he meant for this community. And one little side note, I graduated from Manatee High School when your father graduated from Leadership Manatee. So it's pretty cool to come full circle. So we're blessed to have you and your family here, and I'm honored to receive an award in your father's name. I'm humbled here, and I want to talk about a couple winners, but I also want to talk about 2 people that are here that are very special to me, my parents. My family actually came, my grandfather and my grandmother moved from Pikeville, Kentucky. And they were trying to decide between Colorado and Braden, Florida. And thankfully for Dad, Mom, and for me, they picked Braden, Florida. So they got in a car and drove down. My dad was born at Manatee Memorial Hospital about a year later. And then my grandfather and my uncle started a chain of running shoe stores called Robbie's. And the first store was just west of 43rd Street on Manatee Avenue. And my dad joined my uncle and my dad. And by the way, Robbie's is named after my grandfather. His nickname was Robbie. So the commitment to the community started really there for me. And my parents really only had 2 rules, and that was to tell the truth and to work hard. And everything else will fall into place. It didn't really get mad at me for good grades, bad grades, but those were the 2 things. So thank you for all the support you've given me over the years. I love you very much. Oh, no bad grades, good, thank you. And then secondly, I actually called C.C. Smith, is actually C.C. Gosling, when I decided to run for office. She was my 9th grade speech teacher at Manatee High School. And she convinced me to run for freshman class president at Manatee High School. And it was a vicious primary, I got to tell you. It was terrible. The posters in the Manatee High hallways were terrible. And we sat down and we went over my speech. And to this day, the speech follows me. The speech was about my name. So anything that I promised, like let's say it was soda machines, I would start off with I will. So it was I will give you soda machines. To this day, at every single Manatee High reunion, my friends remember that speech. So I'm very careful to make sure that whatever I talk about is not remembered 20 or 30 years later. But Mrs. Smith really, and we all have great mentors in our lives, but she was an early mentor of mine. And if it wasn't for her and some of the fine teachers at Manatee High and in higher levels, I certainly wouldn't be here. And I told her that, and she said, well, you don't have to thank me. But we don't thank the people enough in our lives that have meant so much to us, and certainly she's one that I will never forget. And to be on a list of distinguished honorary awards is amazing. And there's a couple that I want to talk about. First, there's a gentleman that's not here, Bob Bartz. I know he's here in spirit. The early memories I have of Bob, and I was talking to my dad about this to make sure I was accurate, but they're memories, so they're mine. I remember Bob holding a clipboard next to my dad, coaching Little League with Jason and I believe Wes. And it stuck with me so much about Bob because I thought he always had a clipboard. So when I came to the chamber as a young lawyer, I saw Bob, and while it wasn't a clipboard, he loved his binders. So he didn't have a clipboard, but he had a binder. Now, Bob meant a lot to me because I joined the chamber board as a young lawyer. I think I maybe was 27, 28. And he treated me like the most senior member of the board. I mean, that's who Bob was. And a celebration of his legacy is we're all here because of Bob. You know, it was Bob's vision to have Leadership Manatee and to have, as Jackie said, a continual influx of leaders within our community. And I know Bob had a significant impact on Manatee Young Professionals, and I think I'm the first Manatee Young Professional winner of this award. So I think Bob would be very proud to know that something that he started, we have a new generation of folks stepping up in our community because it's necessary to make sure we always have a good breed of community leaders coming through. Sorry, it just sticks with me. Sorry about that. And I certainly couldn't be where I am without one of my great mentors, Cliff Walters, who's an honoree, and Bob Blaylock. I've been partners with you all for many years, but Cliff, your wisdom and your generosity, and Cliff is so silent. I think he's uncomfortable when he receives awards because he would like to be in the back and just giving his great wisdom. But thank you, Cliff, for all you've meant to me during my career, and Bob as well. You've both been great mentors of mine. Linda Gressa, I saw her in the back. Is she still here? Yeah. Oh, she left? Well, Linda, every community needs someone like Linda. Linda's amazing laughter, and she's always smiling, and her great hugs, and Linda's always been someone, especially in the technical college area, that I've respected very much in what she's done to our community. And then finally, John and Amanda Horn. Every community needs a John and Amanda Horn at some level. I do think it's cool that Amanda won the award first. Okay? All right? And I don't know who knows about it, but what you all are doing with third level grade reading, I think that's the linchpin, frankly, in our society, and the commitment you all have shown to that. If you all don't know about it, please talk to John and Amanda. That's just such amazing work that they're doing. But I did think about John, because he's the award winner last year. And it reminded me of when you elect a pope. You ever noticed when the College of Cardinals meets and they elect a new pope in the Vatican, in the Sistine Chapel, there's always a different type of person that's elected in the prior person. So if you think about Pope John Paul II and then Pope Benedict and our current Pope, they're all a little bit different. So the College of Cardinals of Leadership Manatee, thank you for selecting me, because I have a great mentor in John Horn. But every great community like ours needs leaders to step up and lead. And I was lucky enough to go to New York and for the first time tour the 9/11 memorial site. And I was just struck by just the beauty and that day in general. And frankly, I thought about that second plane. When that second plane hit the World Trade Center, things shifted. Things shifted from, oh, this is probably going to be an accident, to something is wrong. This isn't what our country is about. And frankly, I had not had that type of feeling until the Parkland shooting a few months ago. And I thought to myself, just like then, that we can't have that be our reality, either as a community or as a state, because it reminded me not only of what we need to do, but also that we are filled with heroes all around us, whether or not they want to be a hero that day or not, whether or not they're flying a plane that's bound for Washington, D.C., and they decide to take control over the situation, or whether they're a teacher and they get up and they're facing gunfire and they protect their students. Those fellows are women that woke up, did not realize they were going to be heroes that day, but they stepped up and served in a way that we can only imagine. They gave the ultimate sacrifice. It shows to me how important leaders are in our community and across our country. And we're so blessed in our area to have such great leaders that may not be receiving awards, but are doing important things in small, invisible ways that we may not know right now. So my theme for us today is, what can we do as leaders? We're all great leaders. And I thought about that question for a long time, and really it's do what we're doing. We're doing what we should be doing, and that's leading, that's joining a club, that's volunteering, that's making a difference. Because I know that our community is in great shape. Because the next time we have a community issue in front of us, I'm confident that we're going to step up in a way our community needs to step up, because we always can't make it about government solving a problem for us. I want the next time that our community has a serious issue, whether it be an opioid problem with a young adult, or maybe a young man or woman is having a tough day and is thinking of committing a violent act, I want them to make a different decision. I want them to think of a school teacher like Mrs. Smith, or a late mentor like Bob Bartz, or a current mentor like Cliff Walters, or someone like Linda Agresta with her amazing smile and hug, or someone that read to them for an hour back in 3rd or 4th grade when they were having a difficult day at home. That's what our community leadership should be about, us taking control of the destiny of our leaders, of our community. Because what's tough about leadership is you don't always know what's going on behind you. Hopefully someone's following you, but the impact that you're making on a community may not be known at that very second. So what we're doing right now is impacting the people we want to impact in ways that we don't know. And Leadership Manatee allows us as a community to come together, to have a nice lunch, and to talk about what's important to our community, because we as leaders are going to make sure, because I know we have great leaders in this room, that any community issue and any problem we can solve, and we want to solve it. The fact that I'm getting this award is really mind-blowing. To see the people on this list, I mentioned 4 or 5 of them, but there's so many great leaders in this room that aren't on this list. And I thank you so very much for this wonderful award. Eric, thank you for all you've done, and you look good in that suit. So, and it's really been my pleasure. Kind of like Cliff, I don't necessarily need an award, but it is nice. It is nice to be recognized by your peers. Thank you to the Leadership Manatee Board. It's been my pleasure. I was a Red, by the way. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to be a proud alumnus of Leadership Manatee, because we all make a difference in our community. So thank you very much, and God bless. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. And he's actually passed me in many races before, so. He started off slow, and then next thing I know, he's about, 5 minutes in the finish line before I can even get get there. So, very good runner. I'd like to chat a little bit about Leadership Manatee alumni, a few things that we're doing, things we do throughout the year, some events that we hold, and some how to keep in contact with us all. What we try to do with Leadership Manatee is keep graduates together, in contact, either networking socials, events, just a cocktail hour, whatever the case may be, getting our businesses working, making new contacts. And a few ways we do that is we do events monthly. We try to. Anywhere from Tri-County Rodeo that Chris Sherrick put on, the Naughty Monk, which is one of my favorites. It was fun. The Escape Room in Bradenton. Kiwanis pairing up with them for Christmas in August. And the Holiday Social, we had an ugly sweater theme, and that's still under protest because I didn't win. I didn't pay enough money, apparently, for that one. New member reception at O'Brooks that we've done the last few years has been really good. And we're having a retreat meeting in May for a planning session to come up with some more exciting events through 2018, 2019. And there's plenty of ways to be in contact with us, either our Facebook page, Leadership Manatee, our website leadershipmanateeaa.org. Also, email invites. So if you're not signed up getting emails, it's easy. We have some forms up there by Neil. Fill them out. We'll get you all signed up. And that way you always know what's going on with the upcoming events. I had a lot more things written down what I'm talking about right now, though. So we also, what we do for Leadership Manatee goes to scholarships for Leadership Manatee, scholarships for Junior Leadership Manatee, and the Chamber Foundation. My pages are all out of whack. But the biggest thing today is we talk about leadership, and we obviously, Will was mentioning it, leaders everywhere, some on the list, some not. But what I think becomes a leader is doing the things every day, not what you get glory about, what you get awards. Just go out and do it. And one of the quotes I like to end with is, the quality of a leader reflected in the standards they set for themselves. Obviously, Will has high standards, so that carries him on there. And 50-50 raffle. Let's jump right to that. And once again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today on the behalf of Leadership Manatee Alumni Association. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to stay and chat with us, and keep Common Marathon on.